All right, call this meeting to order. Determined there's a quorum. Commissioner Wardlaw, Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Middleton, Commissioner Flores, and myself. Y'all make sure your phones are off, because some of y'all have some really lively ringtones. Y'all will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. Commissioner Vasquez, if you don't mind.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas
In honor of the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I got it right.
Yeah.
We'll get this figured out later. Also, we had an addendum. We're going to go open up, and we have one item on the addendum, so we'll go ahead and put that in this meeting also. Item 5, discussion possible action on remembering individuals who lost their lives on May 24, 2022. Mayor, would you do the honors of reading the individuals' names, please?
I would be honored, Judge. Thank you. Judge, members of the court, audience, these are the 19 children and 2 teachers who lost their lives in the shooting in Uvalde on May 20th, 2022. McKenna Lee Elrod, Layla Marie Salazar, Miranda Gail Mathis, Nevaya Alyssa Bravo, Jose Manuel Flores, Jr., Javier James Lopez, Tess Marie Mata, Rogelio Fernandez Torres, Eliana Amia Eli Garcia, Eliana Torres, Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, Jacqueline Jalen Jackie Casares, Uzziah Garcia, JC Carmelo Loivanos, Maite Juliana Rodriguez, Jayla Nicole Silguero, Amory Joe Garza, Alexandria Anaya Lexi Rubio, Alethea Haven Ramirez, Irma Garica, and Eva Mireles.
Thank you, ma'am.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion that we take a moment of silence and ask God to please bless these families.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton. Second. Second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Item 6, I'm going to skip that one for now, and I'll come back to it. Item 7, approving and or amending minutes from this meeting. Second. And motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Citizens' comments, I did, here we go. I'm sorry. Sergio Rodriguez, Mr. Rodriguez, please.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us again. My name is Sergio Rodriguez, a leader with the border organization and president of Escondido Estates Resident Association. I just kind of wanted to give the court an update. I finally got my meter installed at my property. No thanks to this court or our county representative. It took a while, but I'm here today because I am the only citizen out there that's thus far has paid for it. So I would like to get reimbursed for it, since everyone else, people that don't even live there are getting them. I've said it over and over again, and I will continue to say it. So just to kind of give you guys an update, I still don't have my backflow on there, but at least I was able to, with the help of the city, and of course, my hard-earned money, was able to take care of that. Second, guys, just the same thing, just to touch base as far as what I've been commenting these last few meetings. There has to be a system in place as far as, how these things are getting distributed. Because I mentioned, there's properties out there with 5 meters, one property, there's people that don't even live out there, there's people that don't have structures, nothing. You can't just be your friend and say, you know what, you get one. That's not the way it works, so there has to be something in place. And lastly, gentlemen, I want to say thank you, first of all, to Sheriff Joe Frank. He's been very helpful. I know I mentioned it last meeting, but it's coming up more and more and more often. The train keeps stopping on there, and as soon as I call him, he calls his contact and it's moved, but that's not the point. I know there's an item on the agenda today to discuss, so just kind of wanted an update. And lastly, we met yesterday, the association, and wanted to see, as far as an update, because I know there is a pressure issue out there for, but according to to what we've been told, I think it's like $14,000-15,000 to buy the equipment necessary to fix that. I mean, if we can spend, $50,000-60,000 on an entrance to a running park or whatever, why can't we spend $14,000 to fix our pressure issue? That is all, gentlemen. Thank you.
Nancy, Scott?
Good morning. I'm also part of Escondido Estates. The residents met yesterday, and one of the issues is the roads. It's impossible to travel the road without hitting bumps every few inches. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's potholes on both sides. And we just continue to patch. The patch lasts a month, it's gone. It's the county commissioner's #1 responsibility to repair and maintain the roads there. And the other question I have is to our commissioner. Why do you refuse to meet with us at Escondido Estates? We need to talk to you there where you can see what we're living with. And that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 9, approving monthly reports from elected officials.
Move.
A motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 10, approving bills for payment.
Move.
Second. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 11, discussion possible action to approve auditor's report.
Move.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 12, discussion possible action on vacation and comp time pay. There was an item put in y'all's package of like 34,000 and change, 35,000, and then there's another item if you add the, depending on what this court wants to do on comp time that people are owed, which is another 12,000, a total of $47,000.
That's correction on that, Judge. That was 12,000 you're reading on comp time?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
it's 121,000.
right.
I've been a little mistaken.
Yeah, a little bit. 35K for the vacation, we can do the vacation payout, we can later come back and talk about the comp time at a later date or something, or what you want to do with that. That is a sizable amount, and that brings everybody down to zero. On the vacation payout, the vacation payout brings everybody down to their tiers, so they still got buckets. The comp time wipes everybody out, all the comp time out. It's not necessarily bad.
In my opinion, I don't know what the court wants to do. If we took care of everybody that's above, we could take care of that 35,000, would take care of that on vacation pay.
Mhm.
And that way the court has more time to look at the comp time.
Okay.
and you can get us that information.
Right, it's not necessarily a great idea to zero out con, because then when,
That's what I'm saying, if you can get us more information on it, I'd greatly appreciate it, but it's up to the court and what you'll wanna do.
Some of these employees use that comp time later in the year.
that is a great point, Commissioner, and that's where we were going with that.
And the vacation time, for a reason, we just.
They've not been able to take it, and we're only gonna, the 35,000, correct me if I'm wrong, is only, when you're above the tier.
Correct,
Above
we
that
have a
threshold.
tier system every 5 years about the amount of leave that you can accumulate before it falls off. And this is, we're at the stages where we have to cut it off, or pay out. So,
And we have the same conversation every year, that if we do this, people are gonna continue. But I will tell you that it's getting less and less.
it is, this one's, probably the lowest amount in a few years.
Yes. And we have the money in contingency, or that 35,000 is probably well within our payroll account.
Correct, for the salary savings for the year.
Motion to pay the vacation time and to take it out of payroll, savings and payroll.
Okay,
I have a
And
motion,
if we get to the end of the year, we need to adjust.
Right.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0, thank you. Item 13, discussion possible action on budget adjustments. A, county treasurer transfer 3,800 from office supplies to school property.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. B, tax office, $3,803 from general capital outlay to tax. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. C, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 4, $2,500 from various tech accounts to technology office supplies. I've got a question on this one.
Mm-hmm.
When you say various tech accounts, I found one that says Precinct 4.
yeah, that should have been expense accounts, various expense accounts. What's inside that tech account is broken up into 4 accounts. We've got our personnel, we got our equipment, we got our, contract, and we got our travel and training. Now, during the budget process, if we do not receive a budget from that elected official, we just hit it 25, 25, 25 to appropriate it. And the situation we have now is we've exceeded that 25 in one of those line items, so we'll need to move some money from one line item to another simply within that fund. Within that
technology
JP type
account.
fund, yes.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. B, adult probation adjustment from money granted from the Operation Lone Star Grant transfer of $81,391.50 from salaries to equipment. These are funds that, had come before the court for, like it says here, 4 salaries.
Do we not need the salaries?
That was salaries or budget for the whole year. It took approximately half the year to get the people hired. So there is there's an Operation Lone Star. So there is some salary savings in that, and he would like to take that salary savings and, expand some equipment.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. We do have a treasurer's report on item 14.
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. I'm gonna move item 16 up, if y'all don't mind, because item 15 might take a little bit. Is he on there? Yeah. Item 16, discussion possible action for solar eclipse to use the fairgrounds and county stage. There's a presentation in your packet, and, we've been attending the meetings. Tom has been attending them, and then, he left me. So now I'm attending them. I will tell you that the work that they have done, the city, the chamber, it has been unbelievable. They have a list of events. Let me get to it. And there's a little, pamphlet that I just put on y'all's desk. You know, I thought this was, when I was told about it, I was told there's an individual at Tractor Supply that went in her community, grew, doubled her population in her community when they had this come through, her community, which I laughed, didn't really believe it was such a big deal until you started getting into it. And you look and listen to the other communities, Eagle Pass, Uvalde, all the other, everybody that's going to be affected. It doesn't last long. So it's 3 minutes and 25 seconds, but it's just something that everybody is nervous and scared about. I'm not talking to y'all, because y'all have done a good job back there. But the other communities, I mean, they've asked for help from the state, especially some of the more rural communities, not that we're not, but there's individuals that don't have hospitals within their towns because of all the people coming in. I was visiting with Blanca a little while ago, and, you know, it's going to take somewhere around $90,000 just for porta potties for this event. They've got events booked. I was looking through here at the Whitehead downtown, the fairgrounds. I mean, food trucks. It's just a massive undertaking by these individuals. You know, I'm prepping y'all because they're going to come back at some point. We're going to ask for more money. So I hope I'm doing a good enough job setting this out. But I will tell y'all that some of the events that they're looking at are some of the individuals that will be participating, Rodney Foster, and then the headliner, I guess, for the Sunday event would be Dwight Yoakam. And just the amount of money that this is going to take to just accomplish the task is unbelievable. But I really do believe that it's going to be worthwhile, especially for everybody coming in, and the amount of, you know, notoriety or whatever that we're going to get here in our city. Anita, do y'all want to say something, if y'all don't mind? I don't want to just put y'all on the spot, but we're actually pretty good at doing that, so.
I think the only thing that I would like, right now, the city and the county to do is for the commissioners to look at where your parks are at and find out if you want to lease them for RVs or lease them for, tent camping or primitive camping, and identify them, and maybe we can put them all on an app, and people would come to Del Rio when they come and they go, okay, this is available, I'm gonna lease it, and they go to an app and they lease it from your, you know, through the county, and I would make sure you put a cleanup fee for it. So if you're gonna lease it at $200 a night, or whatever you guys decide and the city decides, then I would put a cleanup fee along with it, because you're gonna have to clean it up. And then we're going to, so we only have 1,100 rooms, and right now we're at 65 or 70% occupancy. We're not gonna have enough rooms. So we don't need to advertise for people to come, people are coming. So that is one of the things that we learned from speaking. We hired a consultant, and she tells us to expect about 35,000 people in. I'm hoping to only expect 5 to 10,000 people in. So, so we're planning events for people to do for that weekend, but we're not necessarily advertising all over the world for them to come, because we already have people coming, have called and booked some ranches and booked some casitas ranch camps at $2,200 a night. So we just need to make sure that we have porta potties, we can make sure we have security, we're going to make sure we have a list of emergency management. We need to treat this as not as a natural disaster, so that we are ready for all these people, because where are we going to put them? So if you have land that you want to put them on and you want to lease that land or rent that land, you can, the county and the city, and you decide how much you're going to charge per night, whether it be a 2-night minimum or a 3-night minimum, and then put a cleanup fee along with it. Then we're going to have to find somebody that services the RVs so that they're not dumping in a Walmart parking lot, you know, all these logistics. And so that's a city and a county issue, but in order for them to book it, we do have a website. It's called txsolareclipsefest.com, and we will put all the parks that are going to be identified by the city and the county for them to lease space if you want. And you need to identify it. So you need to get with your GIS department, your mapping department, and then I'm sure that we could come up with an app that both of you could use that they rent directly from you, if that money goes directly to the county.
And
or to the-
one of the things, and I looked over right now, and he was already making a little face at my county attorney. So, we'll have to see what part, whether we'll be able to lease it or not. Now I'm starting to talk with my mother, my bottom lip's shaking, and it's coming out. But no, we'll have to visit, to check and see about being able to lease. I think one of the conversations that we had with y'all also was that we have the 60 acres next to Walmart. That might be something to be able to put on there. But we'll visit with our county attorney just to make sure what is it that we can do, other than just open up versus leasing.
Or
that way.
renting, yeah, renting.
Yeah.
What dates do y'all need the fairground?
The,
5th through the 9th. April 5th through the 9th, 2024.
And that's for setup and
For
everything?
setup, and, well, probably the 5th through the 10th, actually, for tear down as well.
I'll make a motion to authorize any use of the fairgrounds and the county stage from the 5th through the 10th at no charge.
second,
Thank you.
have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anita, do you want to say something?
No, just Blanca kind of touched on it all, but we just wanted to introduce this to all of you, to the full court. We thank the judge and Tom for being part of our committee meetings. We do need to plan for a natural disaster for this event. People are going to come whether we like it or not. And so depending on what, land or properties you have available for camping, and if you do decide to do that, let us know as soon as possible so that we can start advertising that and possibly even marketing the event for only a certain amount of people if that's the case.
Can we clear any of that property out of SE Ranch? Or just,
We can. We actually have 47 acres that are already available within the fence, and that would sort of contain, that would have them on 20. Yeah, I'm trying to pick good words, but contain would be a good word.
Yeah.
But we have 47 acres up there where the camp was at, that's already fenced, got Dutch base. This week we were up there and I think, got a text from Kusenberger that they were already trying to remove the fuel tanks and a couple of the propane tanks and stuff like that. And that's basically the only thing that's left up there. And it is lockable. So it's locked right now.
can you look into the issue with that?
Sure.
How about the utilities, Judge?
They, we would not provide like something like out there. Most of them come self-contained with their campers. It's just that they just gonna need space. And, Commissioner, like I said, about 8 months ago, a year ago, when everybody started talking about it, I really thought this was ridiculous. That we'd be planning for this, but it's amazing the amount of people that we could have within our community.
Yes.
I mean, the lady there from Tractor Supply, she said that the town where she was at, basically restaurants ran out of food. They didn't prepare. They didn't realize that they would have that many people within their community. Gas stations ran out of gas. And she says, we thought we had prepared, but we weren't set up for it.
I think one of the issues also is that, we have a group that we're gonna meet with all the security and with Laughlin, and we're thinking of bringing emergency management in from Uvalde and Eagle Pass also, to figure out, who's gonna head that group and how we're gonna control traffic, and we're gonna meet with DPS and TxDOT, and of course, Sheriff and, Border Patrol. We've already talked to some of them, and we're gonna call a meeting so that they can figure out, okay, what do we need to do? So one of the main problems that they had is that as soon as the eclipse was over, everybody headed out, and it took anywhere from 3 to 6 hours to leave wherever they were at. And then people were running out of gas on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So, we have talked to HEB and we have talked to, Walmart, and we haven't gotten a hold of people from 7-Eleven with stripes. We sent an email out to like 50 or 60 restaurants, and only 10 or 15 came to the meeting. We talked to all the RV parks and hotels, and, so we're gonna run out of hotel space, so we need to figure out. Unfortunately, Amistad National Recreation Area only has 77 sites available. And then you've got Seminole Canyon State Park only has like 30. So we have a list of them, and we're gonna put all this on a website, and everybody can link to it. So you need to identify it, and then we need to figure out with your IT people how you want to handle it, but that money goes
We'll get
directly to the county.
You know, you brought it up right now, the commissioners, I mean, they'll look at what is it that they have available, and then we'll also, visit with David and our attorneys to check and see on the 60 acres and exactly how we can
Great.
open this up legally, all right? And I do want to acknowledge Ms. Falcone is also here. Thank you for coming, ma'am. Is there anything else on that? We've already taken a vote. Y'all have any other questions? We're good? All right. Item 15, this one actually, there's two items here. Maybe we just tackle both at the same time. Item 15, discussion possible action on presentation by Jeff Snowden on Texas Tax Code Chapter 312 Property Redevelopment and Tax Abatement Act regarding the Valverde County Battery Storage Project and related engagement letter. And I'm going to go ahead and read item 25, that one in case we need to ask questions back and forth to both individuals we can. Item 25, discussion possible action on presentation by Mr. Evan Horn on Battery Storage Development Project in Valverde County, Yavaseca. Mr. Snowden, you have the floor, or the TV, or whatever.
Yes, sir. Good day, Judge. Good day, Commissioners. Can you all hear it okay?
You're loud and clear.
Oh, great. I can turn the volume down a little.
That would help.
Thank y'all for letting me. Okay, just one second. You got anything? Well, maybe I can.
Well, it's all right. Go ahead.
Let me just speak. I'll speak a little more quietly. Thank y'all for letting me present to you today. I am a consultant and I help several counties around the state negotiate 312 agreements for various capital projects, including battery storage. I provided to the court a sample project that I negotiated last year for West County down Arroyo for battery storage. And I have submitted a proposal to help conduct these same negotiations for Valverde County. I typically, the fee that I charge, I structure the agreement to where that fee is payable by the developer upon execution of the agreement. So my services typically do not cost the county any out-of-pocket money. There are a lot of elements that go into a good 312 agreement. I like to structure a payment of taxes, which brings that revenue in, not subject to your cap. It's classified as non-taxable on revenues and more flexibility. And I structure that based on a targeted percentage of what you want to abate. So the first thing I do is calculate how much this project worth to the county over 10 years with zero abatement. I'll give you that number, and then y'all instruct me what your target is for how much of that, what percentage of that, those dollars you want to capture and pilot, and what percentage you want to give the developer. I'm going to stop and answer any questions, and thank y'all again for your time and letting me be of service.
If we don't do a 312 tax abatement, then they would pay the full property tax on whatever the valuation is. Can you hear me?
That is correct, yes, sir.
And do we have any idea what
That is correct.
Do we have any idea what that amount is?
Real quick, sorry, let me look. Let me see if I did. Based on 89,500,000, at our tax rate of 0.4977, it would be 445,440. I actually wrote everything. $445,442.
And what would that do to our tax rate?
That one right there is a penny and change. Our tax rate, if you were to put it in right now, if we were to put it in right now, if we were just to take that whole amount, put it in right now, what would that do to our tax rate? We're 3 million or 3 billion something, each penny's, so it's about a penny and a quarter. $445,442.
That is correct. However, right, it'd be coming in as new property, and new property is not subject to the cap
For the first year.
for the first year, but then the second year, it's including calculation because it's property was on the roll last year versus property that's rolling the current year. So it's not gonna have an issue. The issue is when you get hit with the improvements, which is what's gonna happen here in year 11, I believe, but there's no way around it. It's gonna happen in year 11.
Okay. His question was, what would it do to our tax? Because in lieu of, you're thinking.
Well, I'm trying to figure out.
Well, in year 11 is when you're gonna eat it.
What the-
Not,
What's the benefit?
it's
What the
not even.
benefit to the taxpayers is to give up, and I don't know what we're negotiating, so I don't know what we're doing in lieu of taxes.
And Commissioner, we haven't begun to negotiate yet. I think that we had talked about, Mr. Horn had sent us something and that we presented it to that. Basically, what we would be negotiating would be up to the court. So anywhere, whatever percentage that the court would love to abate, I guess that would be a question that we would be having later on. It just depends if, right now, do we want to look into trying to get more information on Chapter 312 and get the values from Mr. Horn as to what is it that they would be bringing in? And then
Well,
sort
I'd
of
like
like those sides.
I'd like to look at it before we make a decision. As far as the pros and cons, I'm just trying to figure out why we would give up $400,000. And what the advantage to giving up $400,000 is if it gives us the ability to give the rest of the taxpayers a break. But it may be to our advantage to do that, I don't know.
Okay, and I guess.
So may I,
Go ahead.
if I may, one reason why counties choose to abate these, deals and provide a payment for the taxes, because when I draft these agreements, we eliminate the possibility of the development team over the 10 years coming back to your appraisal district with consultants and attorneys every year and challenging values. That prospect is eliminated. You have a fixed series of payments, whereas if you leave it with a full levy, then they have that opportunity every year to challenge your values, beat up your appraisal district and your consultants, and lower those values progressively.
No, I understand, and there's still a whole lot of questions that have to be answered before we get there, so I think we need to look at.
I've got a question, Judge.
Disadvantages.
Yes, sir.
Do they already have a site where they want to build this?
They bought, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was 180 some odd acres purchased. There's a site of 10 acres right now, and it would be on Old Hamilton, like behind the jail where all the transformers and everything are at, across the street from that, on Old Hamilton and across the street from that. Did he walk up? Come on out.
And Judge and Commissioner, we'll go through a lot of these details during our presentation. I just didn't want to take over Jeff's.
Just come on
I
out.
don't know, you want to do these at the same
Yeah, I
time?
took them, I read them both at the same time, that way we can go back and forth.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to steal Jeff's thunder, and Jeff, good to see you. Again, just by way of introduction, Judge Owens, Commissioners, I'm Evan Horn, I work for Ernst & Young. I'm joined with Jennifer Nguyen, the developer from Cypress Creek, on what we're calling the Tierra Seca Battery Project. And so a lot of these details, and really, there's really no action on our part that we're doing. This was just an opportunity for us to share with you more about where the project would go. Some of the benefits that the county could receive should the project be built. Again, why you might want to consider a Chapter 312 tax abatement, what comes along with that, and obviously benefit for us to help build the project. So again, I work for Ernst & Young. I represent the project and the developer, and my main goal is I work with a lot of taxing jurisdictions, just like Valverde County, around the state of Texas and around the country, to help my clients identify suitable sites to build projects. And as you mentioned, right, there has been a site that's been identified that actually, it's not the full 184 acres that they purchased, it's just a small subset of that. But we'll address that and kind of how this works as we kind of go through this brief presentation that we put in front
I
of
think
you.
one of the documents that you had sent us though was that it was 100 some odd acres that you had purchased, so you did not purchase the 180.
I think it's just, it's on a 184 acre portion tract, but it's just, if you
10
look at the appraisal rolls, there's just a little about I think it's 14 acre cutout of that, of which then the project could be built on.
I've got a question, concerning the site being so close to, a neighborhood, populated area. I wonder if this is going to affect those families out there, you know.
Commissioner, the one question that we had right off the bat was, and like I told them, was what happens if this shit goes boom? How do I put it out? Right?
Yeah, and we will absolutely, that's definitely part of the presentation. We'll address that here shortly. So I'll turn it over to Jennifer just a little bit. She'll tell you just some high-level details about the project, and we'll address some of those questions, and then we'll jump into some of the numbers.
And then real quick,
So have y'all
Yes,
bought the
sir.
property already, or is it, y'all don't have the property yet?
Yes,
Y'all have purchased it already?
yes, we do.
Okay.
Yep.
and this track right here was one of the concerns when it was sold, was because there was, lots that had been subdivided, I think, over 100 years ago on that property. And then, Byron Hodge was the one handling the sale of the property for the estate. I think Rembla is the estate. So all that got taken care of, and there was clear title issued on this tract of land.
Yes, there was a lot of reasons that they just mentioned that we needed to, again, it's not a final decision, right? It's just a small 10-acre portion that we purchased. But again, there was a lot of external factors that required us to go ahead and make that decision now. But obviously, the project still has a long way to go in actually being decided if it's going to be built or not. But like I said, I'll turn it over to Jennifer. She can tell you a little bit about battery projects first, and then we can, obviously, I think as part of that, we're going to start addressing a lot of questions.
Yeah, I can kind of start my little spiel. My name is Jennifer. I'm a project developer at Cypress Creek Renewables. We are a land and energy development firm based in the United States, where we have projects all over the U.S., and we have various renewable projects in different development phases throughout the United States as well. We have nearly 10 years of experience in the renewable sector. Actually, next year in 2024 is going to be our 10-year anniversary, so that's something super exciting. And we are also an IPP company. All that stands for is Independent Power Producer, and I like to think it's just basically fancy lingo to say that we have the capabilities to onboard a project throughout the entire, we can manage and bring a project online throughout the entire development phase. So from site acquisition to permitting, procurement of materials, construction, and maintenance. And the reason why that's so important is because, I like to say that we stand out from other companies that just put pen to paper and get a contract signed, and then they don't have the means to make it happen. They just waste people's time. So we have a process that we know works. We follow that process, and we work with the best consultants to try to make this happen. And so one of the things that, would really help with this is the tax statement. But as we mentioned, the project in question is Tierra Seca. Tierra Seca is a 100 megawatt battery storage site. It's off Highway 90 along Old Hamilton Road behind the correctional facility, adjacent to the existing substation there. The estimated construction start date is going to be in Q4 of 2023. Takes about 12 months to construct for a project of this size. So estimated operational date, is going to be Q4 of 2024. For construction of this size, we estimate around 30 to 40 employees. And once it's in operation, we'll have one full-time employee to manage everything. Something about batteries, as we've mentioned, is I know safety is a big concern. So if you haven't seen them before, they basically are contained in what looks like shipping containers. So there is protocols and everything in place to help with any potential fires or anything like that. And we will be working with consultants to work with our local fire department here and kind of train them what to do if there is a fire on this site. And we would love to make a donation to the local fire department too. And we can make this kind of like an annual training, just so if something like this, the unlikely case this were to happen, everybody is up to date on their training and stuff like that. Another thing as well is for the fire department, the firefighters, I think really the main concern would just be because everything is in a shipping container. If there was the case of a fire, then everything would be contained within that shipping container. So all they have to do is just make sure it doesn't spread to any other shipping containers. As we'd mentioned, this is a 10-acre parcel out of an existing 184 acre tract. And so something I wanted to mention as well is by having this battery storage site here, it does not encumber any future development on that 184 acre tract. So there are no constraints by having this site right next to it.
And so I just kind of wanted to move into the tax abatement side and kind of why it would really benefit us and why we think it would benefit y'all as well. But for us, it would kind of really help in a sense of, for the first 10 years, we would be able to have a more accurate cash flow estimate of, be able to have a better understanding of our financial model, and then just better understanding in terms of, it kind of helps the project in the sense of in bankability, right, from an investor standpoint. So by having this tax abatement, it really helps have this project come to fruition, especially because there are other renewable projects in the area that is our competitor. So having this tax abatement helps significantly. In addition, I think having this tax abatement will kind of help y'all as well, because then you have a specific amount of money for the first 10 years that you know that you will get, and then can plan accordingly. In addition, all of this tax revenue that y'all will have is extra money for the county. Because we only have one full-time employee, you don't have to worry about any overhead or anything like that. So it's just pure income. But yeah, so that's a little bit more about Cypress, the project, and kind of our spiel on like the tax abatement. If y'all have any questions, I'm ready for you.
What do y'all get in federal subsidies or federal tax credits? Y'all get that for these projects too?
Yeah, that was part of the new program. There's not actually any like direct income that the federal government provides. All it is an offset on any federal income taxes that the project may pay.
So we get to write off $89 million?
No, we cannot write off $89 million. I absolutely wish we could. No, sir.
That's my question.
No, sir. It's very similar to like rooftop solar is becoming pretty popular in this part of the world too, right? And the direct consumer, could get a 30% credit on federal income taxes that they pay, right? And so that's a benefit directly to them. So like I said, there are
30% credit.
There's a 30% credit, yes, sir.
Off the $89 million.
Not off the $89 million. No, it is again. It's not a direct grant.
Whatever you would pay in taxes.
It's whatever you would pay.
Off whatever you'd pay in taxes.
A 30% credit, yeah. So like I said, it doesn't work. It's not a direct cash grant by any means. And as Jim mentioned, the largest operating expense for projects like this are property taxes, specifically here in Texas with our larger property tax rates. So as Cypress is evaluating not only other competing site locations within the state of Texas, but in other parts of the country where there maybe these types of projects are exempt from property tax, they have much lower rates. It makes a big difference. And again, one of the other things we wanted to highlight, you can see the impact of the numbers here on this last table.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're going up 1.6 million over 10 years.
So again, this is an estimate. I'll walk you through.
Because part of theirs, it's a 60% abatement.
Yeah, and so I'll walk through the numbers as we mentioned here, right? The way that we believe, right, and we've negotiated these values on similar projects and other appraisal districts, right, and Jeff touched on this on the formulas that he runs, that these are very similar pretty much across the state of Texas, right? We would expect if the project was built, right, again, that's the big thing, right? No financial decision has been made regarding this project, so really the comparison is zero to the $89 million. But should the project decide to be built, and it's after it completes construction, we would estimate it would hit the rolls, right, in 2025 at a value of about $89 million. At your current tax rate of 51 cents, right, with no abatement, that would be about $461,000. Again, right, under the pilot proposal, and again, what we can say is we're agnostic. We know the benefits, and we've seen the benefits of what pilot payments can do for counties.
What's agnostic?
What?
Definition.
That we believe that there's a solution that's out there, but we're not deciding one way or the other what the right answer is, right? So we will leave that up to the county to decide what the correct answer is.
Now, is this one of those, because some of these projects, like wind, solar, or other projects, they go from a construction evaluation to a revenue evaluation at some point.
Yes, sir. So
does this work the same way?
So potentially, it's all basically based on what the lien date of January 1st every single year. We didn't project anything in 2024 because, as we mentioned, if construction did start later this year, it's probably a lot of civil work, right? Not a lot of equipment actually arriving to the site, so we wouldn't expect, The only thing that would probably change is the ag use would change from the site, potentially by the end of the year, but there really wouldn't be any improvements for the appraisal district to tax or levy. So what you're seeing here is just because of the timing, you're not seeing any construction taxes.
No, I'm talking about in the future. You still have it valued down here after 10 years at 30
This is what they would pay our
million.
tax rate over 10
100
years.
something.
Oh, yes, sir.
What we would lose, 20%.
If you go to a revenue cycle where it's taxed off
This
of
is
revenue,
what-
not off
This is
of
what they would pay us every
actual
year.
value of the project, that changes drastic.
Yes, sir.
And it-
Absolutely. The appraisal district, this is unlike, battery storage is unlike
What is
solar,
the value then?
which the appraisal district can only use the cost approach to value to determine it, right? Meaning just whatever they spent, they got to depreciate it, and that, they have to follow a schedule. Battery storage is unlike that, right? This has nothing to do with renewables actually, right? This is a standalone site. So the appraisal district could look at the income being generated and determine a market value from that as well. Now, again, this is brand new technology. There's not a lot of historical precedent of the appraisal district doing that. So what we've just tried to show you here is frankly one of the more conservative side of the estimates.
I'm
Rather
just
than
trying to
trying
understand all the pieces. I mean, because there's a lot of pieces to this. It's
There's a
not
lot of
just-
pieces, yes, but the appraisal district could, right, in future years, right?
But
look at
y'all
the
could
revenue.
also petition the appraisal district to go to a revenue.
Not necessarily. Again, I think what they would say is that they use everything at their disposal, just like the taxpayer does.
But I mean, you can still petition them to go to a revenue base instead of a market base. Now, whether they accept it or not, that's a
Exactly.
whole nother
Yeah.
conversation in itself, but I mean, that option does exist.
It does exist.
Under this abatement or this agreement, if you get to an agreement, you have this thing out, how far out would this agreement go? I'm assuming to 20,
It's by statute, it's limited to no longer than 10 years.
okay. So after 10 years, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Correct.
You're gonna go back to whatever there is after 10 years. So basically, it's the first 10 years that matter.
The first 10 years, it does still matter, right? The appraisal district still has to set the values, especially for the other taxing jurisdictions, the school districts, et cetera, right? So that process will still continue, but the benefit, again, let's call it risk mitigation for both sides. As mentioned, it's a benefit to us as well as it could be to the county. If it's 100% abated and we're just giving you a payment in lieu of that tax, regardless of what the appraisal district does for that 10-year period, it's not going to affect what you receive.
So are we talking about in lieu of taxes, or are we talking?
Well, and that would be something the court would have to come up with, and we've had this conversation with Matt and a little bit with, Mr. Snowden. You do the 312, but you go through there and do a tax, and in lieu of, is that's the way he started a little while ago. And what that does for us is that, we get to push that money in lieu of, and it doesn't affect our cap rate. The only thing would be is that we're not putting it in to our tax calculations. And if we did, then we would have to we'd probably end up having to lower our tax rate to the citizens. Yeah.
And that's the point.
It's on his new property, Judge.
Well, not the first year, but it's,
Right, but the second year, it's in the calculation.
It's still gonna come out.
It's only on improvements. Improvements is what improvements are evaluation. When you go up 20% on already built property, that's what makes you lower your tax rate. If you have new property that comes on, that's not going to affect your ability to property tax. But the pilot is a good idea because although property tax is the highest expenditure in
It
the
is.
income statement,
It is.
even when you,
Yeah, because we have, from an operating expense, from a variable expense
right,
perspective.
that's got to be before you by fear trade out salaries and the cost method.
Again, like I said, it's basically one full-time equivalent here.
and I guess we could go.
Like I
down
said,
this-
it's a big deal.
And we could go round and round. I guess the biggest question that I would have is, and Mr. Snowden, this would be for you, is if we could come up with a value on what y'all are doing, if you tell us exactly what you're doing, and then we could come up with a value, and then we could ask, this is where I'm gonna get confused, so I'm gonna lay it out. I'd hate for Mr. Snowden to go out and do a bunch of work for us and then we don't hire him, okay? So, we can't just hire him. There's a process, right, Melissa? I just visited with you.
It's a professional services contract.
Yes, sir.
We can just hire.
Well, we don't have that in place yet.
We don't have a professional services contract
Not on him.
in our purchasing policy. State law allows.
And that's like I'm saying, there's a process. So I would hate for him to go do a bunch of work for us. And then,
And I'm not opposed, and I would like to have more conversations with him about this, because this isn't the only one coming before this court. There's another project coming before this court asking for the same thing.
yes, sir.
It's a lot bigger project, about a 1,200 acre solar farm. So, I mean, I think there's advantages both ways, but I guess I need to understand a bit more about the 312 issue. I do know that some of these got, undone in December. I think that was the school district ones.
That was the school district. As that program expired, there was a subset of projects that didn't make it through the process.
Still in sunset?
It is completely sunsetted now. So now any agreement that was actually executed before the end of the year is still going to be valid for its term. But there's basically no form of that.
Is the legislators renewed any?
They are.
On the county side, our side?
On the county side, no.
No, so the same is still in effect?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They renewed it.
They only sunsetted the school district side?
Yes, sir. One other thing that I will note, again, kind of to the benefit, right, there's, again, on the land tax as a comparison, right, that on the same 10 acres that's currently under ag right now, the county at current rates is collecting $1.19 a year, right? So the comparison here, we think, again, for, a space of land, it's immense, right? So it's very, very unique what batteries can bring almost $100 million of investment in a little 10-acre plot. And then two, one of the other components that we've seen as part of county tax abatements, whether it's a pilot agreement or some other form of, percentage abatement, is within that agreement, you can have developers agree to road use provisions and other things like that, that normally, right, that, again, developers want to be good stewards, but we know, tearing up county roads and doing this, that within that agreement, you can contractually tie the developer to certain commitments as well.
No, I understand, and I guess the questions for Kim, I'm looking at this more of I guess we need to have some more conversation.
Well, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there, visit with David. I think we need to hire somebody to be able to give us more information, so I asked right now within the agenda item, the way it's written,
within number 15,
could we hire Mr. Snowden? Or look at, or begin the process to hire him, to bring him in to have these conversations? I just don't want to go through the process and have him start giving us a bunch of information, him spend a lot of time, and his money and time, and we turn around and take off.
No, and I'm not saying that we do it or we don't do it. I mean, there's a lot.
But again, there's a lot of questions that all of them are going to have. So, to me, I just think our first step would be to get with Mr. Snowden in order to be able to move forward. That way, we can ask him questions, put him down, and then he can come back with us once we have a value as to what this is going to cost or be valued at. And at that point, then he can run all these numbers for us, and he can show us, look, this is what you're getting.
And I'll make a motion to authorize the judge to sign the engagement letter with Mr. Snowden to start looking at the 312 Property Tax Redevelopment and Tax Abatement Act.
Do I have a second? I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. Mr. Snowden, we'll be getting with you as soon as this meeting's over.
And I'm not saying no. There's too many pieces to this, and
No, our whole thing is just to continue the conversation, right? Sorry.
Let me just finish this. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Mr. Snowden, we'll be getting with you as soon as this meeting's over, sir. And thank you so much.
And the offer's open for us too.
Thank you. And I really do believe that, we'll look at it. But like he said, and everybody said, it's just a lot of questions as to which way we're running. And after we get done with all the questions, then we got to go visit with my audit.
And like I said, Jen, she's in San Antonio. I'm in Salado. You know, we're just a couple hours away at most, so the invitation's always open to just continue the conversation. If you
Well, I
have a
will
chance
tell
to
you that
review
we
please let
really
us
do
know.
appreciate.
Is there a
you coming
time
back.
frame on that?
You know, just in the next couple of months mainly is what we're looking for.
No, okay.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a good day. I will tell you that not for it or against it, like I said, there's a lot of questions, but, the footprint, by the numbers that they were giving us, when you look at everything else out in the county, the 10 acres, we don't have that amount of value on any 10 acres that we have on any part of our county. So, and again, I'm not, just for them or against them, I just think that we need to look at everything. All right?
Judge, I was also comparing that $89 million. That's like building, what, about 6, 8 new warehouses in industrial park?
I can get you that answer.
I mean, it seems like,
I can tell you that we had, my numbers are correct. The mall is 25 acres and they're valued at 12 million, if I'm not mistaken. I looked those numbers up the other day when y'all had a concern about the mall, when it was 25 acres and it's 12 million. But either way, any other questions on that one? No. Item 17, discussion possible action on placement of a suggestion box for the Del Rio Park Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit for a future facility. Individuals came to me and wanted to know if they could put in a box at one of the county facilities. Don't know if we can or if we can't. Basically, it would be a box that people would put in suggestions for facilities within the city limits or within the county as far as parks, recreation as to what individuals might want. I don't know if we can. I guess that would be the first question.
Serve a public purpose.
Sir?
If it's serving a public purpose, I don't.
Well, let's give people an opportunity to vent, bring us stuff. Are y'all okay with that? If y'all are okay with that, then we need a location. They'd asked for the Fitzpatrick building just because everybody pays their taxes and there's more traffic through that one building. If y'all would be okay with letting them put in a suggestion box, something that would not be too big. On the motion, Commissioner Nettleton, Fitzpatrick building. I have a second. Second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 18, discussion possible action on Second International Bridge. I got an email from the city wanting to know if the county, if I would meet with them and then take somebody to go meet with them before they had a public hearing on the Second International Bridge. I don't know where the route's going to be or anything like that. I told Mr. Chavez that I would need to bring it to the court to see who would attend. The dates that we were giving were May 25th, May 26th, June 1st, and June 2nd. I would, there's two commissioners that this project's going to go through, Commissioner Flores and Commissioner Nettleton. If y'all want to attend, I have no problem sitting this one out, and after y'all go, I can go back and look and check and see what's been done. But I do think that in both y'all's precincts, and it would probably be a good idea if both of y'all attended at the onset. But it's up to y'all. Like I said, there's a meeting on the dates are the 25th, 26th of May, which is on a Thursday and Friday, or the 1st and 2nd of June, which is on a Thursday, Friday.
That's this Thursday and Friday. May 25th and 26th?
Yes. So probably better in June.
The other date is what?
June 1st and 2nd. And this will be a preliminary, what I do know is that they have, they've looked at an alternate route. What route that is, I don't know. But I do think it's important to go and visit with the city to get an idea where it's going, especially before they go to have another public hearing. And they reached out to us, I think,
Well, I
accept the
think
invitation.
you should be in the meeting, Judge. And then I think whatever comes out of that meeting needs to come back to Commissioner's Court so the whole court understands what's going on.
Whatever y'all want to do.
You and Bo go, Judge.
Huh?
You and Bo.
You sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Okay.
Any
Well, what I'll do is send them.
of those dates are fine.
If y'all don't mind then, Commissioner Nettleton and myself will attend. Y'all are all right with that? And then I'll give y'all what date, we're gonna be attending, and then we'll, as soon as we get something from them, we'll bring it back to the court and do a presentation. Y'all all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank y'all. Item 19, discussion possible action on Electric Masters invoice. If y'all don't mind, we'll table this one.
Motion to table.
Second. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries to table. Item 19. Item 20, discussion possible action on Odyssey Case Management System Program, which was not continued by Valverde County. There was a citizen's comments on this 2 weeks ago, and that the court had done a really bad job. They were spending money and with no consequences or whatever. I will tell you that we had set aside $1.3 million for Odyssey when it first came in 2019. We asked a bunch of questions, and I personally thought it was the right program. I pushed it real hard. And we began the process of moving over to Odyssey. I believe we'd asked all the right questions, but during the process, there was some, I guess, the word that I looked up that kept being brought out was modules that were going to cost us more money at the time than what we anticipated. So there was a little over $300 and some odd thousand that we'd already spent on Odyssey at that point. Brought it back to the court, and we made a decision not to move forward with the program because it was going to cost us between $700 and some odd thousand to $1 million more to continue with the program. And at that point, you either continue with it and pay more money annual than what you're paying on the two programs that we have now and not be happy, or you cut your losses at $300 and some odd thousand. And with what we were going to be saving in the difference by paying Odyssey or the other accounts, the $300 some odd thousand would be paid, we'd make it up within 4 years. So that was a decision of the court. We are looking at a case management system right now. The system that has been iDocket, I don't know, both systems. We will have, we don't have to, just for y'all's information, in case y'all come up again and ask, we don't have to go out for bid on that one, because they are through one of our vendor sources or whatever. So we could go with iDocket or eDoc, whichever one. Okay. I'm laughing because I'm looking over at Matt, okay. But we are looking into which system we would go with, because it does make sense to go with one system versus our county, our JPs and our county side having eDoc and our district having iDoc. So it would make sense to go to one case management system so they can communicate and go back and look at each other. Look at the work that each other's done. Can't change it, but you can look at the work. So, like I say, the comment was made that we just, bottom line is threw money away. It wasn't like that. When we got into the weeds on it and started looking at it, you either spend $1 million more to purchase it and then spend more money on an annual, or you cut your losses. And it made more sense to cut your losses versus continuing to throw money on something that you had a group of individuals that were going to be using it constantly that did not like it. So that answers that one. Do I have any questions on that one? No. Discussion possible action on the cost of Frontera Road. There was other comments, Ms. Fuentes made other comments that it cost us more money. Didn't cost us more money than over $1 million more because it had taken so long to get it done. I will tell you that just to be straightforward, on the numbers that I looked at, Frontera Road above what we received in grant money cost $1,907,451.89, and that's on probably the low side, I probably missed some numbers, okay? But to be real specific, I'm not saying that it cost $1,900,000 more than what it would have cost us when we actually received the money. I'm saying that it cost $1,900,000 more than what we received in grant money. All right? So to make a comment that it cost all this much more money because it took so long to do, I believe that comment's wrong. All right? The other part to this is that we went out for bid, and Commissioner, you correct me if I'm wrong. We went out for bid, I guess in January, February, we ended up getting an email from TxDOT that we needed to move forward. We went out for bid, and the first bid that we went out on this project in 2019, we were at a little over $7 million proposal. That when we went back and looked at it again, the next go-round from Hunter was at 4.7 million. So from the first time that we went out and bid in 2019, and then we rebid it, it had already dropped a little over $2 million. Okay. So again, there was a comment made a couple of weeks ago that it just costs so much more money. I can't come up with that dollar amount. What I can tell y'all is that it cost us $1.9 million more than what we received in grant. There was 3 projects that were, with this money here, there was 2 other projects, and they all got done about the same time. They all started about the same time because the grant money went out, I think, in 2008.
Yeah.
Right? There was Aldarete, Frontera, and a toll booth. All three of those dollars were within this grant. Aldarete was finished at the same time that Frontera was finished, and I don't know when the toll booth was finished. But again, the comment that was made that it cost $1 million some odd dollars more than what, if we'd have done it sooner, I think that's a false statement. I can tell you that it was $1.9 million above the grant, but to say that it cost, all that money more, that's a false statement. Y'all have any comments on that, Commissioners? None? We'll move on. Item 22, discussion and possible action on cost for plans for a sports complex at the county fairgrounds. There was also a comment in open session under citizen comments 2 weeks ago that we had spent all this money on a sports complex at the fairgrounds and $70,000 that we spent on consultants for the fairgrounds for a sports complex. That statement is also false. The plans for the fairgrounds, the only thing that we spent on plans for the fairgrounds, which is this plan right here, the one that we drew, we don't know what I'm talking about. This plan right here that we drew for the fairgrounds did not cost the county anything but a little bit of time between me and our county engineer, Carlos Velarde. As a matter of fact, all these little fields and stuff that y'all see here, he literally cut those out for me. That way I could put them on the map, on a map of the fairgrounds. And that's the way we started the sports complex at the fairgrounds. We're literally taping and gluing little stickies to the map. So that we spent money for plans for the sports complex, that statement is also false. Okay. There was no monies that we contracted out, other than a little bit of time that the county engineer and just for complete transparency, we did spend money on a consultant for the fairgrounds, but it had nothing to do with the sports complex. Those monies and that project that was brought back to the court, we will begin to implement different phases of that at the fairgrounds, which would be the pavilion and some other buildings that will be built, and that will be brought back to the county for discussion. So either way, anything on that one? Nothing. Item 23. If y'all don't mind, I'd like to table this one till after executive session. I have a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 24, discussion possible action on the cost on grants on Escondido and Rise Estates. Let's see what I did with that. This right here, there's a list of grants that we received. There was a list of grants, and I'll go over just as soon as I sit down, sorry. There was a list of grants that Mr. Esser provided for me. There was a grant in the amount of $350,000 that was for 31,000 linear feet, which would have been, Joanna, you're up. There was one grant for $350,000 for 31,000 linear feet. There was another grant for $77,000 for a tank and some other fittings and stuff for the tank. There was another grant for $500,000 and another one for $500,000, and then the last one that we're in right now, there was a grant for Escondido because they were split. I mean, the grant dollar amount was higher, but they were split. But this is how much was set aside for Escondido, and I'll get y'all all this. There was a grant for $303,832.23, which was part of this last grant. The county went in there and put in $138,018. Then we set aside more money, which was about $50,000. Then we set aside another $30,000. So we had $1,948,850.23. And what I did is I took the amount of, I took the labor on what we're paying right now for precinct 1 in labor, added the 21% of fringe. So, and then took the amount of time that they spent on this last 14,400 feet, came up with a dollar amount per foot. You take in the 65,000 linear feet of what they've installed. I came up with $597,360 worth of labor to install what has been installed. So you ended up with $2,546,210.23. Have we spent more money than that in Escondido? Yes. But I did not, I'm not going to go through the weeds and go through his account, his operating account, and see what he spent on sand and everything like that came out of their account. I just wasn't going to do it. These are round numbers. Can you get that? Okay. Can you fix it? If you look, they did 54 connections. He's done 54 connections. Well, you're not going to like me for this, but you have never been on the list, on any list, okay? Well, I can tell you that when we looked at it, is there some way to scroll through just what I'm, there you are. That's got it. I can do that.
Okay.
Maybe. If you'll look, is it coming up? Yeah. This right here, when you came in from the city, this line right here, when it comes to the tracks, that was the first grant. All right? Where that little dot is at, more or less, is where the tank's at. That was that second grant for $77,000. Then the other one, we ended up doing this line here to here. And then this line here, back this way to here. Then you ended up with the other one that ended up doing all this right here, this right here, and this. Okay. The pink stuff where the little thing stopped, that pink one is the only line right now that has not been accepted by the city, other than what Commissioner Wardlaw has just put in. So when y'all want an accounting of what has happened with the 54 connections that have been put up there, it's cost us $47,152 for every person in Escondido Estate that has water to have water today. That's the minimum. And to give you perspective of when people say that we've not done enough, I take offense to that. And it's really upsetting. For the simple reason, and you'll have an opportunity, sir. When you look at the next grant that we're applying for and the other grants that we've applied for, and I will take Commissioner Flores as an example. We have $313,000 that we're splitting $1 million 3 ways, $313,000. We're doing 8,500 linear feet of pipe and doing 32 connections. And he just got done with another one that is pretty much the same. But you have 313,000 divided by 32. The connections that we're going to do in precinct 4 total to $9,781 per connection. So again, I do take offense, and it's your right, and I understand that you didn't get a meter, and I understand you're mad. I really do. But in all the lists that I've seen and everything that's been presented to me and everything that we went back and looked, and Lisa, thank you. We had a list of individuals that, Mr. Esser, you went out and got these individuals to sign a piece of paper when we first started. And all I think this last one, where there was 18 people, if I remember correctly, on the yellow, what they've installed. And then everything else, there's a list of people, literally, that you had gone out, and before it was typed up in a nice manner, they had signed in order to be able to apply for the grant. So when we applied for all these grants, we took into consideration the people that we visited with. And when we applied for these grants, there was only so many people on these lists. There were certain people that weren't on the list because they didn't own the land when we applied for the grants. Okay. There's been comments, who makes that decision that it needs to get better? That decision needs to be better as to who's going to pick it. And we've had these conversations with Ms. Fuentes and with y'all. As county judge, I'm going to try real hard not to step and offend another commissioner on what they're doing. I do believe that at any one of the commissioners, it's their decision whether or not, if they have an extra meter, to go in and hook up that meter. I know both of y'all are smiling, didn't like the comment. Huh? I will tell you that this last go around, my understanding that there's people that had wanted meters and then that had wanted meters at the beginning and then didn't want them when they were going to be installed. And there was one.
Could we get a copy of the grant just to see what rules or who decided the list? I
can tell you that the decision on the list, I can give you the list that I've been given as to who signed up. The problem with that is, and I'm going to have to visit with you, is what is it that we're going to have to redact from that. But I'll give you anything that I can legally give you, yes, ma'am. But again, the main cost is, when people say we haven't done enough, this court has done an amazing job. The court that we were part of when Judge Allen was here, the courts that were there before us, do we make everybody happy? No, it's not going to happen. But we have spent $47,000, and at some point, I will tell you right now, and you're not going to like this, but the decision to who's going to be hooked up in what precinct, if they weren't on the list, and if there is an extra meter, that decision has to lie on that commissioner. We can't be getting into, you do this, you do that. I don't know. Mr. Rodriguez, you had a comment. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, it's not necessarily, Judge, with all due respect, how much we're not really questioning how much you spend. I know they spent a lot of money, but there's just, like I said, how is this possible where he's picking and choosing people that don't even live there? They can lost. There has to be a program installed, not just, I like you, you're my friend, I'm going to give you. That's not how this works.
And I will give you a list. I will give you a list of the individuals when we applied for the grants, who was on that list when we applied for the grants. You know, I don't think that and I'm not gonna make you happy. I can give you the list that I've received when we applied for the grants. When we applied for them, these are the individuals that we were gonna give service to. I can give you that list.
So every person on that list are the ones that have it right now?
I will tell you that I have not physically gone out there and checked, but I will tell you that there is a meter number, which I would hope that meter number coincides with the address, because there is a meter number.
On that list you're talking about, not something where they just put it in now, right?
No, I can tell you that the yellow and stuff like that, where the yellow's at, the lines that just got put in, I don't even know if they're all there. I do know that they've been assigned a meter number. But I can't tell you because I've not gone out there to go check and see if those people actually have a meter there. But I can tell you that on the list that I received, there is a meter number that has been assigned to that individual, that when we applied for the grant, their names were part of that. True statement? Okay. All right. And again, you know, we're trying to be just as transparent as possible, but I will not, as a county judge, will not jump in the middle of somebody else's precinct to tell them that they need to go provide you I'm not saying you, but provide somebody a meter. Okay? Don't have any questions on that? All good? All right, item 25, discussion possible action on a presentation, already did that one. Item 26, discussion possible action on 2023 Colonia Fund Construction Application, 2023-2024 Community Development Fund Application.
Move. Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 27, discussion possible action on Texas CDBG 7218075, administratively complete letter from Texas Department of Agriculture. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 28, discussion possible action on scheduled public hearing on June 6th at 9:15 a.m. Old County Court of Law. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 29, discussion possible action on invoice number 1, Davis Powell Architects. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second. Second Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 30, discussion possible action on invoice number 1, Esther and Compass Consulting LLC Professional Services. Second. And motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 31, discussion possible action approving outlay request number 4, Texas TWT, whatever. I'm sorry. Motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Real quick, I'm gonna go back to item 24, that's going to be on Rogers State to give a presentation, because I didn't touch on your comments, Mr. Rodriguez, on, the water pressure deal. The engineering firm, TRC, what engineering firm's name? TRC, there you go. I had one letter wrong. TRC, Carlos Velarde has sent request. They changed the project manager that was working on the project to be able to draw the plans. So they're in the process of drawing the plans for the pump and come up with that so we can send them to the city. We had sent it to the city at the end of last year, and we thought that they were okay with that, but they would not accept it. We found out a couple months later that they wouldn't accept it because TRC, the people that designed it to begin with, the design wasn't coming from them, it was coming from Carlos. So Carlos has reached out to them. They're designing the new pump, and they're looking into a couple of deals, whether a new pump will do it or whether a new pump and a bigger pressure tank, depending. So they're designing that for us right now. The court has already set aside money for the pump, or set aside funds for what we thought it was going to cost. If there is an extra cost on the pump, then it'll come back before the court, if there is. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't touch on that a little while ago. Item 32, discussion possible action approving COC, certificate of construction completion of Rise Estate. Thank you. Motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 33, discussion possible action on approving. Thank you. That motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 34, discussion possible action approving the same thing but for Vega Verde. Move. Have a motion Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 35, discussion possible action on a proclamation June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. You're it? I'm sorry we took so long. If you want to, do you have it?
Yes,
You want to read it if you don't mind?
yes.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. I'm Angela Saragosa. I'm your APS investigator for Val Verde County. Let me first thank you for proclaiming May 2023 as Elder Abuse Prevention Month here in Val Verde County. The U.S. Census Bureau has pegged 2034 as the first time in U.S. history that older adults will outnumber younger people. This fast-growing population is expected to strongly impact our families and communities. Older adults are vital, contributing members of our society, and everyone deserves the right to live free from abuse. National research has shown as many as 1 in 10 older Americans are abused or neglected each year, and for every case known to programs and agencies, 24 were unknown. Val Verde County has 7,412 older Texans and 3,579 adults with disabilities. In 2022, APS in Val Verde County completed 109 investigations of abuse, neglect, and/or financial exploitation. In a society that values the just treatment of all people, Elder Abuse Awareness Month reminds us that elder abuse has implications for all of us, and so it's important to find the right solutions to it. Therefore, it is critical that we continue to raise awareness and take steps to prevent elder abuse in our communities, educating the public on the issue and what to do when they suspect abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation of an older adult or individuals with disabilities is critical. Adult Protective Services and the South Texas APS Community Board will remain focused on raising awareness of elder abuse. On behalf of the APS program and the South Texas APS Community Board, I would like to thank Val Verde County, City of Del Rio, and all enforcement, the county judge and commissioners court for their continued support in helping APS carry out their mission, which is to protect older adults and people with disabilities. It is through these collaborative efforts that we are forming public and private partnerships to identify where stronger supports are needed and where existing connections must be reinforced as an essential first step toward defending our community against elder abuse. Thank you for your service and for your leadership in helping us work toward addressing the underreported issue of elder abuse.
You did good.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
No problem.
Do I have a motion?
Judge, I'll make a motion to,
accept the proclamation?
the month of June, yes, Elder Abuse Awareness Month.
Okay. I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. 4-0 with, Commissioner Nettleton for the record stepped out. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Item 36, discussion possible action on approving septic tank intake application 779 Del Rio Street, Comstock. David, it goes from 36 to 40, and they're all the same type of an intake applications and different addresses. Could we just do them all between 36 and 40? Items 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40, they're all for septic tank systems. Their application numbers. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton. These monies are monies that the county had already set aside through ARPA, with all this stuff. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 41, discussion possible action regarding septic tank site evaluation for design purposes. This one is what? The septic system is where, Carl?
Those will be just approved.
For all of it? Okay. Okay, it would,
Each one of these systems will have to have a site evaluation where they go test the soil.
I think it would be better if we got the site evaluator that way, because Carlos' department is the one that is,
Plan review, so, yeah, you need to get somebody independent.
So do we need to procure that, or?
well, we can get a motion for you to go out for a site evaluation.
I don't know what it costs for a site evaluation.
I don't either.
300 to 500 probably.
Okay, 5, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2,500?
Yeah.
3,000.
Would it be, I mean, it would be paid
I'll
out.
make a motion to authorize the judge to go out and hire a site evaluator for these sites. And
Money's to come out of your.
money's come out of it.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second. Second. Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 42, if y'all don't mind tabling that one. All right. And motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second, Commissioner Nettleton, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 43, discussion possible action. If table this one too, if y'all don't mind.
Motion to table.
Second. Okay, on motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 44, discussion possible action authorizing, precinct 1 to dispose of excess dirt from the water line into a privately owned pit.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 45, discussion possible action to ratify the storage of Valverde County water line construction
Motion to
materials.
approve.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Just for information purposes on the water line and materials, there was an audit conducted, on Friday. There was an audit conducted on Friday of all materials that we have in place as of Friday. And so I know y'all keep track of everything that y'all continue to use. I know that you still need some stuff to hook up, but if y'all will just write that down, that way we can go through there and continue with the audit. All right, thank y'all. Item 46, discussion possible action on approval of Holt sales agreement for equipment protection plan 217 motor grader in the amount of $9,400.
Motion to approve. This is for extended warranty.
Second.
And motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 47, discussion possible action on update on Senegas Road. There was, go ahead, Commissioner, you want?
No, go ahead, Judge.
There was an email sent Friday, and it's really hard to read, but there was an email sent Friday to Carlos Velarde on the proposal. Let me see if I can get the other one. The other one's carrot. The other, yeah, let me see this. Yeah, this one's carrot. This one you can see what's on there other than what he wrote at the bottom. There is a couple of line items on there that total 386. The line items the line items that Richard put together total 383, 392. There was $387,000 set aside. I would hope that before we move completely forward with this project, that we have a better understanding of what it's going to cost, what the project will cost us. And in order to do that, I think we need to move forward with a contract with Mr. Zamora, because the numbers have been up and down. So if we can move forward with the first phase, which there is money set aside of $387,000 for that, if we can move forward with that in order to be able to bring back the cost of the court, the numbers would be a little bit more firm than what we have.
Judge, can we table this and bring it back after executive?
I wish you'd have said that before I got on my stage. Why did you keep talking? Is that a motion to table, sir? Motion to table. Motion by Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. And more stuff to table than what we've done. Item 48, discussion possible action on precinct 4 to accept donation of 4 to 6 truckloads of sandy loam to be donated by Commissioner Gustavo Flores for the use at Park Precinct 4.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Okay. Why don't you,
Explain, or why?
no, why don't you let somebody else do the motion and second, and you go ahead and make a abstain.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second. Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? It's a 4-0 with 1 abstention.
You didn't let me rescind my motion?
Nobody seconded. I didn't hear a second. All right, 4-0-1. Item 49, discussion possible action on order authorizing Valverde County Commissioners Court to negotiate the purchase. Maybe y'all can table this one also, because it goes.
Motion to table.
Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second. Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 50, discussion possible action to approve the purchase of a new plotter printer.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 51, discussion possible action on forming a web redesign committee. Mr. Burr.
Good morning.
I guess the most important thing, county committee to consist of 5 staff members. What do you want?
So from our department, I'd like for Valerie Levy to head the project. If we would ask for maybe possibly Alyssa from your office, Elizabeth Farino from Commissioner's office, Reba Benavides from the library, and 1 staff member either from the sheriff's office or from HR, if possible.
You can only,
We'd like to,
one each, or?
only 1. We'd like to keep the committee to an odd number, like 5.
Okay. You want to, or y'all want to do it?
Mario Vargas.
Motion to approve as presented.
Okay. And then if you'll get the commissioners, email.
Yes, sir.
Whenever y'all go to have them, in case they want to sit in.
Sure will.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So the motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second. Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 52, discussion possible action to authorize purchasing agent to advertise for bids for a 25.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Discussion, item 53, discussion possible action to approve budget adjustment from precinct 2 FEMA amount for capital outlay for the purchase.
Judge, there's a correction to the amount that I have on my agenda. It should be $47,291.68.
Okay. And I'm gonna go and ask a question before we move forward with that one. And then you have item 54 in the amount of 31,800 something. Is this in order to get it to where that one line item is at 100,000?
190,000, yes.
All right. Item 53, correct amount is 47,291.68. Commissioner Nettleton, or who made the motion?
Make the motion.
Second, Judge.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 54, discussion possible action to approve the purchase of 2 2018 Kenilworth day cab tractors at $94,000, totaling $190,502.38. Amounts to be split between the tax. And those dollars are correct.
Yes.
Second. Motion is Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 55, discussion possible action to approve the contract extension completion date from May 31st to July 31st, both in 2023, for their irrigation system sod installation, precinct 2's Watemuski's Park. Motion, Commissioner
And
Nettleton.
Miss Melissa, just, there was no penalties or anything on there? I didn't even realize we had a,
No, there
expiration date? Okay, everything's good okay. And it was second, Judge.
Okay. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 56, discussion possible action to approve the expenditure of the library's annual biblioteca on the amount of $10,838. This usually comes out of the
Library expansion.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 57, discussion possible action to approve the expenditure of an updated mobile inventory device from the library expansion fund account in the amount of, okay, a motion Commissioner Nettleton, second. Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 58, discussion possible action to authorize county judge to sign the amendment adding new service to Duck Pond Road for the sheriff's office and authorize county judge to sign.
Second.
Motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 59, discussion possible action to approve the addition of $2,000 from appropriated funds for the moving of the IT before we make a motion on it. IT department portable building. This is for an unexpected expense. There was some boards rotted and stuff like that they couldn't move it because the damn thing. The equipment was in mud. Sorry about that. The only thing is though, it's a $2,000 bill. I would ask, that if you will call, Mr. Penny and tell him that there was an issue, and he already knows there was an issue where truck and tractor ran over. It took about an hour and a half, an hour and something by the time, we fixed it, or it got fixed. If he, that, instead of sending him a $2,000 check, if he will invoice us for, $150 less,
Okay.
and that we will send him that dollar amount because of the expense that the county took in order to fix the dirt.
Okay.
So, $1,850, if he will send us an invoice for that, and if he's not happy with that, then bring everything back to the clerk.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 60, discuss possible action, county judge and county engineer authorized to sign all change orders for Laughlin Base project. Second. Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 61, discussion possible action to approve and adopt purchasing policy manual and procedures. And we already had, we brought up a deal a little while ago on that.
Professional services contract. I didn't realize it wasn't in,
Well, it's not in the purchasing policy
but it's in
manual.
the state law.
Yes, it's in the
Okay.
state law.
We don't need a purchasing.
No.
All right. Motion to approve.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 62, discussion possible for approval to declare the following items surplus, to be auctioned, transferred, recycled.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody
Thank you.
against? Monday?
So thank you.
Do what?
Thank you.
I can't hear. Motion carries 5-0.
Be nice.
Yeah. Item 63, discussion possible action authorizing Sheriff Joe Frank Martinez. Sorry?
Motion to approve.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Oh. Motion carries 5-0. Item 64, discussion possible action
Motion to
authorizing.
approve.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. Item 65, action authorizing Sheriff Joe Frank Martinez to pay the animal control officers overtime. There should be funds in this year's budget.
Motion to approve
Payroll.
out of payroll.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 66, discussion possible action to reactivate the county-wide burn ban for these months, effective, for 3 months, I'm sorry, effective May 29th, 2023.
Motion to approve. Hold off.
Huh?
I don't think we should do this. If it dries out again, maybe.
I was thinking the same thing about not.
Hold on.
Well, I was thinking about holding off with everything
You
being
okay
so
with that?
green.
So we're not gonna lift the burn ban?
No,
No,
this
that
one was
was-
to redo it again.
Reactivate
Yes, sir, reactivate it. Are y'all okay?
Motion to not do it at this time.
Let it expire. Let the
Yeah,
existing
it's kind of
burn ban
confusing
expire.
there.
Yeah, and I might have misread it wrong. Commissioner Nettleton made a motion to let it die. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 67, discussion. Oh, man, I can't see. Discussion and approval to hire students with the workforce CO
Motion to
program.
approve.
Second. Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. We're almost to the end. Item 68, closed session consultation pursuant to Texas Government Code A 551.071, parens 2, attorney-client privilege, B 551.071, parens 1, parens 8, contemplated litigation, C 551.072, regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, and/or value of real property and possible action in open session thereafter, D 551.073, regarding negotiated contract lease of real property and public, E 551.076, regarding security devices, security audits, and security personnel. Take a little 5-minute break, and then, come back, if y'all will give us the room for executive session. And we'll go back.
Checking things out.
All right, court come back into session, and just for, Tom, because Tom watches our videos, no action was taken, Tom, in the executive session. We're gonna go back to the addendum. Item 1, discussion possible action to proclaim the month of May as Community Action Month now. And I'm sorry, I hadn't recognized you back there,
Oh, no.
so we're good. You're not mad.
I'm not sure, my name's Lisa Cardenas, and I work with Community Action here in Del Rio, but I'm not sure if I was supposed to bring anything, or...
We have a presentation here. If you just want to tell us a little bit about what y'all do,
Okay.
that'd be great.
I'm not sure how long they've been in Del Rio, but it was established back in 1965 in Comal County. That's where it first started. But here locally, what we do is we assist with utility bills. We have a program, Texas Half, which we pay past due taxes. We also have a weatherization program that will come from Uvalde if we need to make your home more energy efficient. Also, we have an ERA program, which we assist people if, or clients if they are homeless. We help with like deposits, maybe if they need to put their stuff in storage, we can help them. We also work with other agencies here in town. If for whatever reason we're not able to help them, we'll refer them out. Because we recently ran out of funds, but we did apply for another grant, so we did get, I believe it was like $5 million, but it is spread out within 31 counties, because we do serve 31 counties in the state of Texas. So that's basically what we do.
We have a proclamation here, and I'll read it. Whereas the Community Council of South Central Texas, Inc. was established as a community action agency on May 11th, 1965, and whereas the services areas encompasses the South Central and Southwest Texas counties of Atascosa, Bandera, Bee, Brewster, Crane, Comal, Culbertson, Demet, Edwards, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Hudspeth, Jeff Davis, Carnes, Kerr, Kendall, Kinney, LaSalle, Live Oak, Maverick, Medina, McCullen, Pecos, Presidio, Real, Terrell, Uvalde, Malverde, Wilson, and Zavala, whereas Community Action has made essential contributions to individuals and families across the nation by creating economic opportunities and strengthening communities, and whereas Community Action is a robust state and local force connecting people to life-changing services and creating pathways to prosperity in 99% of all American counties. And whereas Community Action builds and promotes economic stability as an essential aspect of enabling and enhancing stronger communities and stable homes, and whereas Community Action promotes community-wide solutions to challenges throughout our cities, suburbs, and rural areas, and whereas Community Action delivers innovative services and support that create greater opportunities for families and children to succeed, and whereas Community Action insists on community participation and involvement, ensuring that all sectors of the community have a voice and will be heard, and whereas Community Action is celebrating 58 years of innovation, impact, and providing proven results for Americans. Now, therefore, Valverde County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim May 2023 as Community Action Month in recognition of the hard work and dedication of all Valverde, Texas Community Action agencies.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much, man.
No,
for
thank you,
everything
and I'm
do.
sorry I was late, I had some clients.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Item 29, item 29 will remain tabled. Item 23, discussion possible action.
I'll make a motion to authorize the judge.
I'm sorry, I put 23, but it's not. It's it's item 23. Yeah,
I'll
go
make a
ahead.
motion to authorize the judge to negotiate a contract and bring it back to the court.
Second. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. We will go to item 42. Discussion possible action on rescinding court order 21-1761, agenda item number 24. I need a motion to
I'll make a motion to rescind court order number 21-761.
Second. A motion, have a second, Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 43, discussion possible action on setting aside $10,000 from available appropriations to purchase real property for 0.9 acres, more or less, lying
I'll make a motion to authorize the judge to use the same funds in the same place we took it for the 10,000.
Second. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. We will go to item 47, discussion possible action on update on Senegas Road project. Commissioner Flores.
Judge, I'll make a motion asking the court to allow me to enter into negotiation with Texas Infrastructure Engineering and do it in 2 phases for the Senegas Road project. And phase 1 would include, and not to exceed $387,000 in phase 1. Okay. It'll be the preliminary engineering, the project management, surveying, environmental, schematic design, traffic studies, drainage studies, and direct expenses for a total of about $383,392.21.
And real quick, on that one, it would be the county, not Commissioner Flores, and it would be the judge signing the contract.
And have the judge sign contract.
That work? Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 49, discussion possible action on an order authorizing Valverde County Commissioner's Court to negotiate the purchase of real property and above appraised value.
I'll make a motion to authorize the judge to negotiate a deal and bring it back to the court for
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. The 2 items that just for, so everybody understands. Item 43 and item 49, there was a concern about a roadway or the possibility of individuals leaving Escondido Estates. Both item and 49 will address a possible exit out of Escondido and into Rise Estates. So, I'm gonna go back real quick. I know it's getting late, but it's another hour, right? County judge's comments. We've had phone calls and people wanting interviews and stuff like that. We haven't done it on immigrants. I will tell you that I was reading some information the other day. The week after May 11th, when Title 42 went away, there was 11,000 individuals that were deported and sent back either to right in South America or to the furthest part of South America. Orange County and Rockland County. I know Orange County filed an injunction against New York City for hauling immigrants to Orange County last week, and the app and Rockland County also filed an injunction against them. The app that President Biden and his administration has set up does still allow 30,000 individuals per month to come across from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. The app is having issues, but I think that's the way they're trying to come across now. First busload of immigrants from Texas to Denver, Colorado, was delivered last week. They opened up that they said they were sanctuary city, and Governor Allen, took them at their word, you know, and poor guys, they're getting hammered too. They were already busing from Denver to New York even before this happened. Even Denver was busing them. Again, I will tell y'all that, you know, Sheriff, I want to thank you for visiting with DPS. I know that on Saturday and Sunday, I was out in the Comstock area, went to go eat at JP's, and there was troopers out there. I don't know if it was just at that moment, but I will tell you that there was troopers out there going out past Comstock. So I don't know what's happening out there right now, but I will tell y'all if they will please help us. Commissioner Nettleton, I mean, you know, he all the time asks for it, but I do know that those 2 days, there was troopers headed out there. So I want to appreciate y'all, you taking the time to visit with me, because I know you've been visiting with them, to get people out there. And we do have quite a bit of a presence of troopers in our town. The other thing is, to the individuals that are graduating, congratulations to your daughter.
Thank you, Judge.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, it's one of those deals that, Jesus Christ, don't want to scare them, but damn, now it gets real. I remember when I graduated in 1980, you know, I thought, oh, it's going to be okay. And then reality set in and you're just scared. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to scare them, but you
Judge,
know.
the problem back then is that we're all a little bit too wild.
Just a little bit. Well, and again, we were at my wife spoke at the keynote speaker, I guess, at Bell's. They had a deal for them going out. And you sit there and get watery-eyed because, I mean, it's a big change. I mean, it is, you know, it is just a massive change. You know, and as much as parents that you think you've prepared them, I mean, damn. I mean, you know, but either way, and I was going to go into what I went with our kids, but I ain't going to get through that. I will open it up for commissioners' comments. I mean, we've got graduates right now, so anybody on commissioners' comments want to open up?
I've been getting calls from people. It's election time, so I want to make it official. I am not running for commissioner again, just so everybody can make their decisions about what they're doing. So I've appreciated the time. It's time for a change. Speaking of children, mine are graduating next year, so I want to spend some time enjoying them. So I will not be running again.
Well, that sucks. For the record. Under judge's comments. Damn. 20? When you get that? 20,
22, 23, something like that. I don't know. Too many.
Wow. Well, we've had, and I'm going to go back to judge's comments. We've had our ups and downs, but I will tell you that you will be missed. You know, we've not always had the same opinion, but all of y'all too. I mean, and not that y'all are leading, but I'm very grateful for the court. I'm not throwing rocks, not trying to get rid of it, okay? I don't want y'all to read into it, but I think you're one of the ones that when I came in, you know, sort of took the lead and we listened to. So for that, I appreciate it. Thank you. Anything else? We're all good. We're fixing to start the budget process. Everybody wants more money. I didn't look at you though, okay? So I didn't look at you, Ms. Lopez or Judge Lopez, so I'm not pointing her out. I just did though, right? But either way, I will tell you all that this budget year is going to be a little bit, we're going to have to get creative with funds in order to allow individuals to get raises. I will tell you all the first set of raises that we looked at, I don't think it's going to be possible, but at the end of the day, we will try to make it as painless as possible and try to take care of our constituents and our employees.
Will you, Commissioner Nettleton, give us a farewell gift to the JP?
Huh? No. It's still a year and a half. You're not getting out. We're not getting out there.
Well, I had 0 raises, so I'm just playing. I don't want to get called. Y'all all good? All right. Item 70, been a long meeting. Item 70, we're adjourned. Y'all have a great day.
It's a short notice for the